This was his desk, was Sean's desk. And I can still remember that day vividly. Class had just ended, and Sean and his group had just given this presentation where they had, we were working on rhetoric and Aristotle's Logos, Ethos, Pathos, and they had to create a commercial of their own and demonstrate their knowledge of rhetoric. And they created this commercial about green tea and the magic power of green tea. And they had one of their kids shooting jump shots and airballing, and they got a swig of the green tea, all of a sudden swish. And then they had Sean, and Sean was drawing these stick figures, and then all of a sudden he takes a swig of the green tea and he goes, and there's the Mona Lisa, and everyone in class is laughing and cracking up, and it went on and on. It was just this beautifully well done video, and it was the last group of the day, of my last class of the day, 5th period. And I remember earlier in the year, Sean had told me he never got an A before. Sean was this kid who didn't really care much about grades because he knew there was something way more important in life than outward validation or the approval of our peers. And he was just so confident and unique. One of the most unique kids I've ever had, of the thousands of kids I've had in my days as a teacher. And I can remember sitting back there at my desk, and the video just ended, and the bell rings, and Sean starts to get up, and he starts walking, and I get up and start walking. I want to go give him a big hug. I want to tell him, hey man, you just got your first A, Sean. And there's a hustle and bustle of all the kids that are trying to get out, and I see Sean walking, and I'm making my way, and I get to be about right here, and Sean is near the door, and I was going to call his name out. Yo, Sean, hold up. And then I remember the thought in my head, and I said to myself, I'll just tell him tomorrow. I'll just tell him tomorrow. And I let him walk out this door, having no idea that tomorrow is never a guarantee. And that one day you can be a person, and just one day later, you just become a picture. See, my little guy, Sean Severson, a week before his 16th birthday, a block from this high school, Fountain Valley High School, was riding his bike to school like he always did. And he got struck by a car and killed on the way to school. And I can remember first period had started, and I'm sitting right here as class is starting. And one of Sean's best friends, this girl who was with him in my 5th period class, burst open the door, and she's in tears. She's, Mr. Schultz, Mr. Schultz, Mr. Schultz. It was just, what's wrong? He's in the street, he's in the street. Who's in the street? She said, Sean, he got hit by cars, and he's just laying in the street, and people are going past him. I was stunned, and I ran, and she kind of fell to the ground, and I picked her up, and I called the front office, and we knew we got rushed to the hospital. And then later on that day, 5th period, his class, his instructor just pretend everything is normal, don't do anything, and all of a sudden in the middle of class, I see one of his friends look at their cell phone, and the kid just falls to his knees on the ground, and someone else falls down too, and I think they just got a text message from Sean's sister that Sean had died. And I never experienced anything like this as a teacher before. And then I'm calling the front office again, I'm picking kids up, I'm carrying them outside, I'm trying to console them, I'm trying to keep the rest of the class calm, and it was just a devastating day. And I didn't leave till very late that night. I can remember going back to my desk, and I just wrote a few words on my Facebook of just the kind of person Sean was. And it kind of went viral locally, and it got back to his parents, and his parents were grateful for it. They printed the words in his funeral bulletin, and they kept asking me to come visit him in the hospital. And from the age of 10 to around 14, 15, 90% of my family had all died in a short amount of time in hospitals. So I was afraid of hospitals. I didn't want to go. And I guess he was dead, but his family had kept his body alive on life support, maybe helping somehow he could come back or something. And we had all these little events every day. I bought a bunch of these Rastafari bracelets. That was Sean's favorite. He used to wear beanie just like this with the green and the yellow and the red. And so we got these in Sean's honor. We all started wearing these. And Sean always had his gold watch. He loved, him and I both loved watches. And he was actually wearing the gold watch when I went to visit him in the ICU. And so finally, we've had candlelight visuals. We've done these things for him. And I met his brother and sister, and then his friends kept saying, his parents really want to meet you. They want you to come to the hospital and see him. And so finally, I agreed to go after being hesitant. And about 6 of my students came with me because I was so nervous. And I can remember sitting in the waiting room, and finally, only I think 2 could go at a time. And I got up to go, and I guess I was trembling. And one of my students grabbed my hand and said, "I'll hold your hand and walk you in there, Mr. Schultz." And she had already been in there. These young kids are leading me up and being there for me. And I walk in, and there's his parents and his grandparents. And there's that little boy I just saw every day in class and that video, and this phenomenal assignment. I never got to tell him, "You got your first A, you did a great job," because I put it off till tomorrow. And here I am now holding his hand, and there's these beeps and these machines making him breathe, and he has his little stuffed animal, and he has his gold watch, and I'm just holding his hand, and I'm talking to him and letting him know how great he was, how great he is, and I just break down crying, and I'm letting his parents know what a great job they did raising him, and how he was so different than anyone I ever had taught. And Sean had always said that the meaning of life is to enjoy your life. And he was smiling all the time, one of the happiest kids I ever saw. In high school, there's cliques, and he never excluded anyone. Everyone was included with Sean. And he was kind of an outcast by some, but he never let anyone be an outcast with him. And I can remember a security guard told me one time that he got a detention. I forget what it was, being late or something. And this security guard felt really bad. And he said, "Oh, it's all good, nothing personal. You're just doing your job. Don't worry about it." She said, "I never had any kid try to make me feel better about giving them the detention before." That's who Sean was. He was so kind and full of love and full of light. And he got it. He was wiser than any student in the class. And he had written once that one of the keys to a successful life is making friendships and taking notes. I thought, man, he was phenomenal at making friends, but I never saw him take notes in any of his classes. But I was standing by his hospital bed, holding his hand, and we're all crying in the room. I realized that the notes were not for him to take, but for us to take from him. This great sage who would only be here for such a short amount of time, yet had so much wisdom to teach us how to always be happy even when you're having problems, always have a smile on your face. And the best thing you can give someone who's not smiling is your smile, because it might help them, remind them what theirs looks like. He was always so kind, so inclusive, so loving. He was so full of joy and happiness. And he wrote once, I remember after he passed away, I went through all of his journals and put together all of his writings, and I brought them to the hospital and gave his parents his handwriting. He was so profound. One of the things he says was, revolt, rebel, love. We all need to be aware and stop paying attention to less important things. There's always someone who needs help. Sean Dylan Severson. There's always someone who needs help. My God. Sean Severson. He said there are too many fakes in the world. We need real leaders who have values. War was created because of how people treat each other. We need to be more aware and stop paying attention to less important things. There's always someone who needs help. I want to encourage you never to have the mindset of I'll tell them tomorrow. Don't put off your love, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. And as we sat in his room and I held the hand of my dead student, and I hugged his parents and let them know what a great job they did, I remember his mom said to me, tomorrow's his birthday. Who's going to open up his presents? And I felt so bad for her. I know the greatest gift we ever give is the gift of life, and Sean opened up that gift every day like no other. And then she said to me, I want you to tell all your kids from now on, no matter how mad they are at their parents, never go to bed angry. Never go to bed after a fight. Let your parents know you love them. Even though the teenagers are tumultuous, always let your parents know you love them. And then Sean's dad said, Mr. Schultz, I want you to give this lesson to all your kids every year, especially to the males. Tell them to be more affectionate. For fathers to hug their sons more, and sons to hug their fathers and each other and say the words, I love you, and be physically affectionate with one another. And I promise him I'd always do that. And every year on his birthday, he was born March 25th, died March 21st, I always tell the Sean Dylan Severson story. And now I have to tell it online because we were on lockdown pandemic when it happened. And one of the things I've always done is whenever it's someone's birthday in my class, we always give them a candle. We always light it. I always say a little thing internally to Sean every time I light the candle. Because after I met with his parents and spent some time in the hospital room, I went back to the lobby, and then the other kids went one by one. All of a sudden, it was past midnight. And Sean's parents asked us to come, all of us, back in the room. It was now officially his 16th birthday. And a moment I'll never forget, as we all stood around Sean's body in that hospital room. And we sang that boy happy birthday. And I thought he didn't get to have his candle lit. Life can be over like that. You pay attention to more important things, as Sean said. And so every day, someone's birthday in my class, we light a candle for them, the whole class sings happy birthday. You know, today is April 24th. It's going to be my birthday in 2 days, April 26th. And I'm grateful I get to even make that mark. But every time it's my birthday, every time it's anyone's birthday, I always think of that birthday song we sang for that boy in the hospital. He was so brilliant. You know, he used to play this tech deck he had in the back of him. He used to go meow, make his little cat sounds in the back just to make people laugh and have a better time. But I want you to think about, what would your birthday wish be? What gifts have you now opened up? What do you need to go say to your parents right now and give them a hug and say you love them and be more physically affectionate with one another? Who do you need to tell someone, great job to, man, you got an A, great job? Don't wait for tomorrow. It's not guaranteed. Sean, I love you, buddy. I'll never forget you. And on your birthday, we light this candle. Even when it gets blown out, your light remains with us. And I'm still taking notes, buddy. Meow. I love you all, big giant lunch. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to each other. I love you.